Hello to all Angular users. I'm really excited to announce that PrimeNG 2-in-1 is here and has landed. I'm really excited and because personally I work a lot on this version along with the team. Since, as you may know, after PrimeNG 19, I decided to go back to the project as a project manager. And as a developer myself, I find myself writing code again, but it's fun. So version 21 brings a lot of great enhancements, and PrimeText vision has been executed for this time frame because we had like 6 months. As you know, we are just following Angular versioning. And for the 6 months, it was really busy. So let me go to the migration guide. And before I begin, I would like to say there are no major breaking changes. Actually, there are no breaking changes except one because of the small animation. Although it may not be a breaking change because it will still function. I'll get back to it. So what is new? Pass-through attributes is a new feature that actually we have introduced in version 20-ish something, but now it's production ready. And pass-through attributes, I have created another video about this. It is a dedicated video that you may see. It is about passing any attribute to DOM elements of the components, and we are exposing the DOM elements. So styles, classes, area attributes, IDs, anything you can pass to the components internals to the deep dive, and you will be able to control the DOM elements. And plus, we also offer a lot of templating features as well. So the whole idea is to make these third-party off-the-shelf components feel like you have developed them in your code base. So pass-through attributes has a lot of use cases. I personally use them when I need some accessibility feature. I need to add some area attribute, for example. You can even bind listeners, which is actually quite interesting, so that you have an icon in the, let's say, drop-down icon, share on down. And you can even add a click listener or mouse over listener, because otherwise you have to go to the issue tracker, request this feature from the developers, in this case us, the project maintainers, and then you have to wait. Sometimes we accept it, sometimes we do not. And now it's fully unlocked so that you can go, you have like a lot of control over the representation thanks to pass-through attributes. And another major feature is styling, of course. I mean, you can just pass classes, attributes, styles. Even, let's say, if you're using Tailwind, you can pass Tailwind classes and style PrimeNG components with Tailwind. Another important thing is the Unstyled mode. PrimeNG has a new theming. And in case you'd like to go with another alternative theming approach, we now offer Unstyled mode. The Unstyled mode basically just removes all the styling from the component. There are no classes, so there are no P class, no CSS variables, but it still functions. It's like a canvas for you to work on, and it can be enabled globally by setting Unstyled true, and also you can do it per component. So this is the styled version, this is the unstyled version. So still you need to style an unstyled component, right? That's where pass-through attributes come in. And here we have, this is a sample I created. This is a Tailwind based button. So pass-through attributes gives you access to the DOM elements like root label icon. And we also have, for example, in this case, there's a pass-through viewer. Here you can see which DOM elements the component consists of, right? So in this case, I can have, they're all typed anyway so that you can get some IntelliSense support as well. So you can pass these Tailwind utilities and overwrite them. Sorry, not overwrite, but in this case, you are using Unstyled, you're not overwriting anything, you can just pass. But if you like to overwrite something, that you can use this Tailwind overwrite, or if you're using CSS layer, you can just also avoid this as well. Another interesting thing is the pass-through attributes can work globally so that you can apply these to whole buttons. Anytime you use a button, they will get these styles, they will get the attributes, they will get the listeners. So pass-through attributes combined with unstyled, you can unlock many abilities. Some may consider to be unnatural. So Volt UI is something I personally built this for Vue to see what you guys are thinking about. I mean, to get some feedback. So Volt is a UI component library, but it gives you, it's like a CDK for you to build your own easily. So you don't write JavaScript, but you just build these components. Instead of node modules, you get them from npx, from GitHub, and they live inside your code base. It's a recent trend because, you know, Prime libraries are traditional, but we can also do the other way, where the components may live in your code base so that you control them as you like. But Volt provides this architecture where there's the components, Volt component. It uses unstyled PrimeView, in our case PrimeNG, and they style with Tailwind instead of the theming, and they use the core component from node modules, and the Volt components along with your application live in your application. So let's check out the Volt component. It is something like this. So the dialog is unstyled, it has templating, and Tailwind classes pass through. And this is downloaded with npx Volt View add dialog. So this command gets the dialog from GitHub, add it to your code base so that you can change the classes as you like. It's an interesting approach. It's quite popular in the Vue land, but if there's a lot of, I mean, framework ecosystems, communities can be different. What worked there may not work there. For example, in React, this approach is getting popular, so we are also providing this as an option for PrimeNG. But Angular, I'm not sure. There's been some libraries that follow this approach, but I've checked their download numbers. It's not, they're not getting picked up a lot. So, and we have a full roadmap in 2026, but we'll see. If there's a lot of demand, of course, we can bring Volt to Angular as well. All right, let's move on to what we have. Modern CSS-based animation. So we were planning to do it after 21, but Angular team has decided to deprecate core Angular animations API in, I think it's 20.2 something. So all of our documentation, everything became deprecated because PrimeNG provide animations async provider. So now it's deprecated. You get a line, a strike through. So it was supposed to be quite simple migration. It turned out to be, I mean, my estimate was one sprint, 1 week. It turned out it took like 4 or 5 maybe. It was like crazy because there's no one-to-one migration path from Angular animations to the animations approach Angular team has provided. They just introduced animate enter and animate live, but there's no proper like callbacks and things like state changes, even just 1 millisecond of execution time in the callback. For example, we had to execute some JavaScript before animation starts, but the new animation replacement, they rely on native HTML, native browser callbacks, and it didn't work like as we wanted to. So we have our own motion API in Prime UX, the shared library. So we have decided to use it instead. After realizing that we are stuck, we just, as a last resort, our CTOs created this Angular version of the Prime UX motion. So motion is like in React transition or Vue transition component, it's the same. So it understands what's going on inside. So it gets properties, and when the property changes like animate enter, leave, state changes, they just add classes. And luckily we have managed to centralize all the animations for Prime React, PrimeNG, and PrimeView. So it turned out to be a great result. Now everything is shared. PrimeView has also been updated, and the modern CSS animations are quite interesting. I've created a new guide somewhere here, animations, yeah. So in the past we had this using Angular animations. That was an API that I never understood. I have problems with time zones, regular expressions, and Angular animations. three APIs that I always have. So luckily that the last one has been deprecated. So anchored animations, we have different kinds of animations. Anchored overlays are like selects and pop-ups and popovers and things like that. So we have our new animations created by, we work with our design team. We check the UX animation guidelines, get feedback from the UX experts. So we've replaced the default animations. There's better transform origins, durations, easing functions, timing functions, and so on. And also, regarding animations, it's quite trivial to overwrite them. It was not really possible to overwrite these animations in the past. Now it's quite trivial and fun, actually. So here we have the classes, p-anchored, overlay, interactive. So they have, of course, their default animation, but you can just hook in your own keyframe and that's it. So this is the one that translates from 10%. And collapsibles, we have also replaced the collapsible with new timing function, a little bit better durations. But of course, here's an animation where I've decided to customize this with scale and fade so that you can do some fun things about this. But of course, this animation, I mean, this example is for override. I mean, of course, this is useful if you like to override them, but of course the defaults are quite functional and working. And the dialogues, they also have their new animations, and I've also updated these parts. So dialogue, for example, the background is blurred and there's a translate Y from -10%, and it goes down like a false. So this is a fun demo, of course. This is maybe a nice demo for some interesting pages, but of course, a nice example of how you can customize, and you can easily disable them by using animation duration. So here's the whole list. As you can see, some of them are shared, like p-anchored overlays, because like selects, color pickers, when they're anchored to a certain component, like come from pop-up, selects, and date pickers. And of course, if they're displayed at the edge of screen or center, they have their own animations, and anything that collapses, like steppers, panels, they have their own animations. So overall, animations have been simplified. You can just remove Angular Animations API from your application, and you can save like, I think it was 80 kilobytes maybe of bundle space, and get some hardware acceleration as well. Just better FPS for animations. So let's go. Initial zoneless support for improved performance. I mean, PrimeNG 22 will be the initiation of this. We are going to enhance the components based on modern Angular APIs with signals and everything. We also have, I'm using signals here and there, but we are beginning this backward compatible enhancements, modernization, let's say, of the component implementation. So where we will use input signals and new control flow, the latest add-ons, because PrimeNG is 10 years old. So when we started back in alphas, that was another deal of Angular. So that's why now we have this initial zoneless support is available because we have checked all the components. We are using push. So zoneless is not, signals are not mandatory for zoneless. So we have provided some patches, but of course the core will be available with full first-class support for zoneless in upcoming versions. The next part is AI-enhanced documentation. What this means. Currently, we have created the LLM-compatible and LLM-optimized documentation, where you have your full set of the documentation is available as a markdown. So, for example, here you can see all the documentation is available, so that you can hook it in with your in your AI workflow. And the next part is, of course, the MCP server that we've been working on. I think we couldn't get it ready for the release, but the MCP server is also under construction, and it will be out hopefully in December. So a couple of maybe weeks from the creation of this video. So it's coming up. And let's see what more we have. Breaking changes, there are no breaking changes, so no errors are expected in your application, but the Angular animations, we had these show transition options and hide transition options per component. And these were like to customize the component animations to some level. Since we are not using Angular Animations API due to its being deprecated, we haven't removed this, of course, because in case you were using them with Angular binding, you will get X error. So, but they have no function; they will just be ignored. So, in maybe unlikely case that you were trying to customize animations with this, we suggest using the migration guide in the animations so that it's easier, because instead of doing it for one component, you can do it globally. Other than that, there were no cases, but if you are facing with issue, please report reported issue tracker. We will do some maintenance patches in case we miss something. Frankly, it was an interesting experience. I will just wrap it up in the final section. So deprecations, these guys are deprecated and it will be removed in the next version. We had this directive PT attribute names like PT input text in version 20. Now there's a new convention, P input text PT as a suffix. This part should be suffix. And it will be removed. These older names will be removed. And it was fairly new feature, so I'm not sure if not many people would use it. The context menu selection mode will be separate as the only option because joint doesn't make sense. With left click, you can select items from tree data table, and right click, you should have another set of selection, just like file systems do mostly. So we have used this property, but now separate is the only one that makes sense. So the removals, what we are going to remove, PrimeNG themes are going in favor of the Prime UX themes that we've introduced in 20. So we usually wait for 2 versions. That means 1 year of time frame for the community to migrate. Also, the P template will be removed in favor of this Angular's default -name templates, since after the introduction of the name templates, this becomes really obsolete. And some small features here and there that should not be a problem. And we are planning to provide an automated script to help you migrate this in version 22. So that you can run it and it will be available. Your code base will be updated. And other than that, what we couldn't do, signal forms, we work on it, but it was too experimental for us. Every week there were some changes and there are some conflicts because we are using property names like invalid and things, but signal forms are really not very third-party library compatible or friendly. We are creating issues, trying to get in touch with the Angular team to make it more compatible, but we'll see. Of course, we have to support signal forms. As Angular library developers, we have to support template-driven forms like this here, reactive forms, and now signal forms. Great. And what we couldn't do is we couldn't spend a little time on the issue tracker because it would mean delaying the version, but we have dedicated December and some time in January to fully dedicate on issue tracker. And also, the PR reviews, the issues may be piling up. It's a problem with all popular open source libraries. The development team is limited, but the community is like getting 2.5 million downloads. So we have to introduce some new processes. As a result, we have been experimenting with AI so that it can review PRs and issue tracker triage, and it will put it in the attention of the human. So other than that, 2.5 million downloads per month, developed by a limited number of resources. In case us developers, we have to find new alternatives because we'd like to avoid ignoring or missing important issues in this pile of questions and help requests and so on. That's something we have to tackle, and we are working on it. And what we will do, it's quite exciting. Year 10, the project I started back in 2016. Now it's 10 years. I didn't have a lot of gray hair when I started PrimeNG, but working with Angular gives you a lot of gray hair. All right. Internal refactor means we are going to, this is iteratively, so we will pick like 20 components initially and rewrite this JS part, TypeScript part with signals, the control flows, and new callbacks, effects. There are some reactivity issues that we hope to, it will really simplify because the new Angular is quite interesting and useful. And we will, I think, really simplify and make it more stable with this. And do not expect any breaking changes because we have switched to semantic versioning and no breaking change policy. I'm the breaking change police in our team, where I just watch out before every release. I look at all the comments and try to find out any breaking changes because of this. We have received criticisms, as you know, so that's lessons learned, let's say. Component updates in PrimeReg 11, we have just redoing this color picker. There's a cool new color picker there. There's a brand new organization chart, new toast, and there's a new command menu and input tags component. So we will bring them, and to avoid breaking changes, I think we will just do some tricks like new names. Color pickle could be input color, would say, and things like that. Prime UI Plus is a new paid and commercial premium UI library. It has like 10 components that nobody likes to touch when you're developing UI library, but as a vendor, I think we will do it. Text editor, I'm currently working on it. I'm working on replacing Quill, which is not maintained anymore. So we will bring our own, and we have a new no third-party policy. Charts, we're using Chart.js. Text editor using Quill. They are leaving and coming up with our new Prime's native implementation. Event calendar was using back then full calendar. Now we will provide our own calendar. So text editor, calendar. What we have here, timeline, diagram, file manager, charts. We have a new developer as a full-time. We have hired as a mathematician who will develop the chart components. The POCs look really promising. Advanced data grid, like a spreadsheet, like a component that goes beyond what the table provides. PDF viewer, Gantt charts for project scheduling, and so on. This is called PrimeUI Plus. Theming API enhancements, we will just add some simplifications regarding theming, like the light dark is quite stable now in native CSS, so we are going to utilize it more and do a setting where we replace all the CSS variables with the static variables, so that, because with many CSS variables the developer tools will be just slowed down maybe, so we are going to work on developer experience on this part. And Prime icons are getting at least 100 new icons hopefully. And then internal refactor will be iteratively in 22. I think in a couple next year we will be able to modernize everything in terms of Angular APIs. And PrimeNG 22 scheduled for second quarter 4, last quarter PrimeNG 23. UI kit has been redone with Figma variables instead of Token Studio. We were using Token Studio in version 3. We have migrated to native Figma variables. It's lightning fast compared to Token Studio. Now I have to create the theme generator, and we are going to provide a Figma plugin. I'm working with the team so that they can provide us a Prime UI Figma plugin that will do theme generation and CI/CD integration and things like that. And then we will create new tokens like typography and spacing and so on. So the work goes on. Templates, they are getting brand new content for applications like chat, mail. They're being updated to version 21 and getting new content. And the Prime blocks, we will just do some maintenance in first quarter, and also planning to work on this AI-based Prime builder. So like prompt, give me a block with navbar, and it will be trained with Prime blocks specifically. So Overall, it has been an exciting experience for PrimeNG 21. We were at the edge of what they call it, burnout. Yeah, because it was really took a toll on us. So we had to take some time off. I personally took a couple of days off to do some gaming. But now we're back, and PrimeNG year 10, guys. I mean, as I mentioned, I mean it takes a lot of passion and motivation for a library author to develop this library for 10 years. Considering we also develop other UI libraries and Prime blocks, templates, all other new tools. So we really still believe in Angular. We really like the new Angular, and I think we have found a way to manage the project properly with new no breaking change policy. The storm we had in 18-19 has gone. Now the waters are stable and calm, and we will build upon this version. So thank you, and see you on the next video. Thank you.